Hello, fellow homesteaders. We are going to work on our Waldorf head today. As I noted in the article, I let this process intimidate me for 2 years, and there was absolutely no reason for it. Before we get started making the core of the head, I thought it might be useful to see what the heads look like when they're done. This is a tinky tiny head, as you can see how it fits in my hand. The process is the same no matter if you're doing a head this little or a head this large, which would be for probably a 12-inch doll. The heads need to be solid, and I can't pound the table like I want to. It's going to make my tripod shake. They need to be solid. They're going to be cushy and soft on the outer part, but the core inside must be hard, or else you'll not be able to get this definition in the face. But I have a series of different ones here. Once I learned how to make them, and as you can see, I just used spare socks. I didn't buy the tubular gauze, it's called. It's pricey, and it's the same thing pretty much. And you're adding an extra step if you do the gauze and not a sock, because you have to sew the end to make it like a sock. But you can go and pick up a pair of socks in whatever color, which won't be shown underneath your skin tone, at the Dollar Tree, and come up a lot less expensive if you are not like me and have socks that lose their soulmates quite often. But these are little tiny heads, and so you can still get definition in them. This is a doll in progress. She does not look like a lot right now because she does not have a hair and her body's not finished and her clothes aren't. But when I get done with her, she will be incredibly cute. But you can see if you push on the head, it's a soft doll, so the head is going to be soft, but the inside has to be hard, like you're squeezing, oh, what does it feel like? Maybe a rubber bouncy ball like you usually get for a quarter out of the machine at the store, kind of like that. But you can get the different definition and texture on the face with cheeks and an eye line, no matter what doll you're doing. This was one in progress that wasn't finished, and my necktie came undone. We'll discuss how important it is to get these strings tied in a later video. But you have the same process for all of them, the same shape of the head. You just have a lot less detail when you're dealing with one this little, because you can't do a whole lot with the eyes. I think that starting out the little head was actually easier. Embroidering the eyes can be intimidating and problematic. I found that more difficult than the actual making of the head. But with these little ones, yes, you're dealing with something tinky tiny while you're making the head, but just one simple little stitch for the eye. So you can kind of build your confidence. This is the inside of what this Waldorf doll will look like when she's finished, which has to be by Easter because she's going inside of a cradle purse. But there's different types of material you can use for the outer covering for the body, but the main thing is you want them to match. So when you buy your material, you want to make sure you get enough that you can do arms and legs and bodies. We'll get to that all later. We're going to talk about the material you can use to make your head now. Waldorf dolls are supposed to have wool, all natural materials, and I am all for that. I love all natural materials, but a bag of wool sells for anywhere between $20 to $30, depending on where you're getting it. If you have sheep on your homestead, woohoo for you, you've got a free source of wool. And while I was just learning to make the heads and not sure if I was going to be able to pull it off, I did not want to invest $30 in the wool. And it was a rainy day that wasn't supposed to be rainy, so I decided I was going to use materials I had on hand the first time that I did it. And eventually, I'm going to be switching to the wool. I will do that for the girls' Christmas dolls. But until then, still in the learning process, and just to keep the cost down, I'm using different batting and polyfill and fiberfill that I had. You can see this right here is very silky, very, very lightweight. That is this kind of, oops, I can't get this screenshot here. This polyfill that you can get at Walmart or whatever stores, that big box stores you have in your area. It's polyfill, premium polyester fiberfill. Hate the idea of polyester, but it was inexpensive. There were 16 ounces of it for like $4. For one package of this, it says you can make at least one 15-inch stuffed toy. I've made far more than that out of that bag. But this is not as easy to work with as this stiffer fiberfill. It's nearly the same kind of package, so if you read on it, the one that says for stuffed dolls and toys is great for a typical stuffed doll or toy just for the stuffing. You could use this and place the wool inside the body and the arms, no problem. But to make the head, and I can't recall what the very similar package of that looks like, it's a little bit stiffer. It's easier to work with. It's not so silky to fall out of your hands. And I've also used, this is like batting you use for a quilt, and it is very stiff and it is easy to get it into a thicker ball shape. And it doesn't come loose inside of a bag like these other two types of fill you buy, and it looks kind of like the blanket liner it's intended to be. So any of these will work for inexpensive, though not natural, material to make the head. You can use thin cotton string or some embroidery thread, embroidery floss even, and dental floss or jewelry string to work on your head. Whatever it is needs to be durable. Excuse me. So when you're pulling the strings very tight, which you would do frequently, it's not going to snap. You're not supposed to use the waxed or scented dental floss I've read when I was learning how to do this. I imagine is that the wax could get greasy and show through where you wouldn't want the extra scent. I've not had either problem with it. And I have not found non-scented or non-waxed dental floss where I live. The reason I like using this more than anything else is because you can do it one-handed. You can pull it out, you simply run the string across the guide, and it cuts it. It's that simple. So we're going to start with making the core. And I'm going to make this core so it would be for a head, let's see, somewhere probably in between these two sizes. This would be for a smaller doll, like an 8-inch doll. And this one, like I said earlier, would be about a 10 to 12-inch doll. And it's best to get your head done completely first before you even think about choosing which body pattern you want, unless you're buying a kit, which is pricey. Once you get your head done, you might need to adjust the pattern up or down a little bit. And I don't have drawing skills, minimal. I can draw simple things on wood peg dolls. But I made my own patterns, which will be in download format free in the following articles. And those are simple enough. It's just a very simple handshake shape like this, and a foot shape that's not any more difficult. Proportions are what you need to make sure you have correct. That you can, if you decide your head's a little big or a little small, you can just take the pattern that you do have and just go around it, make your own other outline, make it a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller to keep it proportional. Okay, so we're going to start with the core. I have probably a silver dollar amount size of this fiber fill in my hand. You can see it fits easily in the palm of my hand. So I'm going to just start rolling it. You roll it over on itself once like that. And try to go slow and show you. I watched so many instructional videos. If they went too quickly or their hands were in front of them. The one that helped me the most, and I wish I could remember this artist and this doll maker's name or YouTube channel. She was incredible. She didn't speak English, and it didn't matter because I could follow along and watch what she's doing. So when you get your piece of your core material, take about a finger's width and fold it over, and then fold it over again, like so. And then you're going to start folding in the sides. You're going to make what's kind of like a rough ball shape, fold in the right side, fold in the left side, and then give it another roll. You want to keep it tight as you're doing it. I will see if I can hold this up a little closer here so you can see. You're going to keep pulling and tugging so it is nice and tight. You can push on it and you can kind of feel your finger bounce back from it. You know you're keeping it tight enough. So you're going to keep going over and over again. The same thing, roll it over once, now not twice. Fold in the left, fold in the right, and then give it a curl over another full turn. Once we run out of this piece of stuffing here, we'll go and add some more. So now we're going to fold it over on itself again, and it keeps growing here. And as you grow, as it keeps getting thicker, it's going to be harder to fold in the left and the right side. Keep one finger on your little bulb that you folded over so you do not lose the thickness of it and the tightness. And fold your left over. Now keep that finger on top of it to hold everything in place. Fold your right over. I kind of slid under my finger there. I'm going to put both fingers on it and give it another roll. And we're going to keep on with this. And eventually it's going to be a little bit more difficult to fold in the left and the right end. But you want to keep that kind of same pattern. Okay, so now I have my first little bit here. And I'm going to get out some more stuffing. I'm going to lay what I have right inside of the stuffing I have laid out. It's about as long as my fingers. And I'm going to take the underneath And I'm going to use it to make my one roll over like I had been doing before. So I encapsulate what I already had rolled tightly inside this new stuffing. And the same process again. Fold it left. I guess depends on which side of the screen you're watching. Fold it right and fold it over. It's not going to be a perfect ball shape, but as you keep going and it gets thicker, you can fold the sides inward instead of directly on top to get it more like a ball. It's kind of looks like a river rock. It's not exactly oval or circular, kind of oblong, but you want to keep it close to a kind of a ball shape that you can get. I'd say it's actually more oval, as you'll see when we get done with this. So now that I have a good bit going, I've rolled my left and the right in and rolled it over and over. I now have enough of a form here that it's thick enough to grasp mostly with one hand. And I'm going to give it a whole roll over again. And now we're getting a bit more of a ball shape here. I'm kind of rounding it out on purpose. But you got to be careful when you do that rounding out, because when you do that, you can lose the tightness of it. And if that happens, just unroll and re-roll. Hopefully just one turn. And you don't have to start again from scratch. But it's much better to start now instead of putting all this time into this doll. And when you go to put finishing touches on your head, it just does not hold the stitches and it does not hold its shape. Okay, so I have more of a core ball here. And I'm going to hold it together with my hand. Oops, I have a dangler to keep it stiff. See, I can hit it and bounce off it. We've got the kind of rubber bouncy ball thing going on. I'm going to go ahead and pull some more. I like to have a pulled pile of 5 or 6 different pieces over here, different sizes a little bit to pick from, so I can kind of just reach over and grab a part that might be that amount I need to finish. Your hands will get sore when you're doing this. My left hand, and I'm left-handed, is already aching. That is how hard I'm holding and gripping and pushing on this as I go. So I keep rolling, and I'm going to fold in the left and the right now instead of it's getting too big to really flip it over like we did. So I'm taking the left and folding it in and then rolling over it. I'm taking some from the right and folding it in and then rolling my little bulb over it. Now what has happened is I've been focusing more on explaining what I'm doing and watching, and I've lost my stiffness. That happens. That is going to happen more than once. My core ball that I first started with here at the very beginning before I got the extra 2 pieces is still pretty stiff. I can salvage it, which is great. If it was not salvageable, I would just start from scratch. This part, the core, is probably going to take longer than most other parts that you are going to do. But it's important to get it right. So I'm going to make sure I got nice stiffness here. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to let that core ball go for a second. I'm going to go ahead and cut me off some of this. About, let's say an 8x8 square. And let's see how this works in comparison. I've had really good luck with it before. And I won't have to try to hold on so tightly while demonstrating and move my hands back and forth so that you can see. I'm going to unroll what was loose here. Go back to my original core ball, which you can see is still very stiff. I'll go ahead and repeat the process I was doing, rolling over, pulling in left, pulling in right, rolling again. You just keep going and going and rolling it up, just making your own little ball here. I'm going to take the start of the core. I'm going to put it right here in the corner of this little patch that I took off this batting for quilting. And it is, being a solid one piece, it might not be as flexible when I get closer to the end, but we'll hold together a lot better. So I'm taking the corner piece and I'm folding it in. So I have encapsulated my initial little core here. So now I'm going to take some from the left and I'm going to fold it over top of my little core and give it another turn. It helps lock it in to keep it nice and stiff. So I'm going to take the right. See, when you work with this bigger piece, you do not have as much flexibility. There's pros and cons of whatever type of material that you use. I'm going to fold it over yet another time. And now I'm going to take my hand, my right hand here, and squish like this so I get more of a rounded ball shape. And I'm going to roll it over again to hold that shape. I'm going to use the end of this, and I'm going to hold on to it. Now it will tear. It's fairly stiff, but it will tear. It is just bad. But I'm going to hold on to it firmly, and with my left hand holding onto my little bubble start of a core here, I'm going to pull back just to get that tightness a little better. Yeah, my left hand is sore. You will notice your hands do get very sore when you're doing this. And I have to say, if they're not, you are the luckiest person on earth who probably never gets sore hands doing any type of repetitive homesteading chore, or you're not holding it tight enough. So now I'm going to keep rolling my ball, just as we've been doing, folding over and rolling. This little end piece here. And if you have too much, or a piece that just kind of whopper jawed, you can just go ahead and trim that off. I'm going to put my hand on the end again and give a nice tug to tighten that up. Okay. This is not too bad. I'm going to go ahead and go back to my other batting here and see if I can find a piece that's not quite as chunky. And I'm going to lay it out, kind of mush it down the table so it's fairly flat. I'm going to put this core ball in it. I want to give it one more nice covering. I'm going to fold this over, fold my left in, and fold my right in, and tuck that under to keep it tight until I get string on it. So I can hold it tightly enough to show you. We now have a nice ball that fits in the palm of my hand, much more compactly than what all this stuff did earlier, but still not any larger. But I've just rolled it up into that type of ball. And I'm going to flip the camera off for a second, and we will get ready to do our core tying. As on video would be so long that other folks that are rural homesteaders with satellite internet have a hard time getting them to load. But I'm going to hold this together tightly with one hand. I reach over and turn the video off, and we will start again in the next video with tying up your core.